Science proves without a doubt that evolution is not fact and creation is facts.
Wow, that's amazing. You should let the 99+% of biologists who are practicing in relevant fields know that, so that they can learn for science from you.
Well, I think that the 90% of geologists have already decided that is true.
But
and biologists.
Geologists.
But what do geologists know about?
Biologists are the ones who discovered the fossil record and who do science based on that fossil record.
Okay.
And the fossil record shows that all the life forms on this planet were created in a certain order. You know, all fish. Then we've got all mammals. Then we've got all.
Yeah, but they were not created.
And science proves that without a doubt, that there was not a half fish, half animal, half people.
Well, actually, fish are animals, but you're putting in the use of the word created is implying that there's some mystical force out here that's going, ooh, piff.
Wait, I want to know, are you saying that most geologists are creationists?
I wouldn't say there's, 50-50 or 80-20 or, I think that the 90% of geologists have already decided that is true.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I mean, it should be a simple matter of research. Is there any, for instance, peer-reviewed scientific literature out there that says that, that confirms the biblical story, for instance?
Well, okay, let's put it this way. I'm pretty convinced that most geologists who really look at what they're looking at can safely say that there's no evidence at all, no scientific evidence that anything had evolved.
Now listen, Grapehead, I'll explain it so even you can understand it.
You absolutely can't avoid paleontology and geology if you really want to figure out the reasons for when, how, and why certain transitions happened in the history of life. And yet contained within the geologic record is a definite ordering of fossils in rocks that's consistent, predictable, and very useful to an understanding of evolution.
I think that the geologists are the ones that the scientific community that you support, that tries to point out that everything evolved, are the actual people who they would have to go to and say, okay, where in the fossil record do you see any transitional forms? And they say, well, we can't find any. Well, but we still
they don't.
Surely you can't be serious.
We have fossils showing how horses, over the course of the last 60 million years, had their gene frequencies change enough so that they went from four-toed to single-toed, and from small, dog-sized animals to the big ones we ride today. Oh, I'm thinking of Archaeopteryx. It's the first known bird, has a beautiful blend of dinosaurian and bird traits. This is backed up even more by recent finds of small dinosaurs with feathers that also look like they could fly. Here's Archaeopteryx on the left from about 145 million years ago, and the dinosaur Microraptor on the right, which is from rocks about 125 million years old.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
But you're wrong on this.
Well, they have to, because
but they don't, because you're wrong.
Excuse me, but in the dirt, do you see any kind of transitional forms, Mr. Biologist?
Yes.
In the dirt?
Well, I mean, wherever you want to talk, wherever. What do you think, that there's some kind of proof?
Yes.
Yes.
So you got like ape skulls on one end, and everybody agrees that they're ape, and you got human skulls on the other end that everybody agrees are human.
Right.
But as you go toward the middle of that sequence, creationists disagree with each other. Some of them say, oh, that's definitely human, and some of them say that's definitely ape.
Maybe what, 1% of all? Creationists?
No.
So what's your point? The biologists say we don't know. They don't. All the biologists don't say this is half human, half ape.
But you're coming at it from the wrong angle.
Transitional form.
You're coming at it from the wrong angle, because you have things that are obvious ape ancestors over here, things that are obvious humans here.
Right.
There's a transition from one to the other.
No,
it's creationist.
They don't know that.
It's
they don't
creation.
know that. The scientists.
Yes, they do. They can look at these things.
No.
They can pick it up and look at it. What the creationists are doing is drawing a line in the dirt and saying apes, humans.
If it was that obvious, we would know about these middle half
Well, I suggest that you go to talkorigins.org and look up these particular skulls.
Well, we all know that there's no evidence of a half person, half ape.
No, we don't.
Well, right, where is
because
that
you
guy?
are either one.
In a museum somewhere, right?
There are two choices here. One, you are ignorant of the process of which evolution is, or two, you just haven't researched it, which is most likely what it is.
The actual process is not my knowledge of the process. It's just that the process is so far fetched. It would have to be kind of ignorant to believe that.
It's not.
It's like selling it to a ninth grade kid is not trying to sell it to the overall masses of people.
As opposed to trying to sell a ninth grade kid the idea that they were created from nothing out of dirt.
No, I think we were all created from a creator. Now, we can call that creator God.
Yeah, you do call that creator God. Stop trying to pretend that you don't have an opinion about who the creator is.
Because even the scientists who believe in evolution, half man, half ape guy, okay, let's say that exists, okay, for argument's sake.
That just shows that you don't know what you're talking about.
For some reason, you guys believe that primitive man had to migrate to different parts of the world. Okay, because you do believe in primitive man migrating. How did they get to the northern continents and stuff?
Yeah.
Whereas you believe in Noah's Ark, right?
But no, wait a minute.
Yes or no? Do you believe in Noah's Ark?
If they evolved, they would have evolved all over the planet, not just in one spot, and then had to migrate.
No, they wouldn't. You
that's
completely
itself right there that you don't want to acknowledge.
You are completely unfamiliar with how evolution works. The same thing does not evolve everywhere. That's not what the science says.
Well, what happened then? All of a sudden, they could only evolve in a certain area of the planet, and all these things were evolving, and there was all these transitional forms everywhere at the same time. But no, that can't happen. See, now you're contradicting your own science.
No.
Saying that evolution could only happen in a certain area, then after it evolved into man, it had to migrate over to the other part of the planet.
The truth here is that you are woefully ill-informed of what about evolution and the fossil records.
The problem is the process is so simple that you guys don't want to see it. And so the bottom line is the science that you guys always use to back up the evidence of a creator is right there, but you don't want to see it. And so if you be a little open-minded to the fact that everything was created and science kind of backs that up.
Open-minded to the position that you are definitely right.
Yeah, if there were any evidence that there was some supernatural God and he just poofed everything to an existence,
right,
then I would be all for that. If they can show evidence of that, excellent. That should definitely be out there.
Okay, well,
the problem is, let me finish my point. Let me finish my point here. The problem is that there isn't any. What creationists are trying to do is they say evolution doesn't work. It's wrong. It's broken. It's got all these bad ideas. They don't know what they're talking about, but for the sake of argument, that's basically what they do. And then they say, that's broken, therefore God did it. Science doesn't work that way. Science, you have to prove a certain idea. So if you want to say that God did it, that's fine. But you have to be able to back that up. If you can't back that up, then you have absolutely no business trying to promote that idea.
Right. Science is the process of finding out natural laws behind stuff that we actually observe happening. God is a cop-out. Yeah. It's a statement that I can't figure out how it was done, can't see any naturalistic causes, so it must be magic.
Okay, gonna go back to Bill. You still there? Hello? Tom?
No, this is Bill again.
Okay, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, but anyhow, the point you made about people 1,000 years ago thinking that the Earth was being pulled by a chariot, or I don't know exactly how they said it, but the Bible, it's funny. I don't think it's coincidental that it talks about how the process of creation happened, and that now that we know what we know, it kind of backs up exactly what they talked about.
How?
Well, that
specifically,
that fish were created first, right, and then first the seas, and then you got the fish in the seas, and then you
doesn't
got
the Bible
trees.
Also say that night and day were created before the sun?
Yes, but you're missing the
well,
point.
Does science back that up?
Well, the sun is referring to that the sun was created before night and day, right? Is that what the Bible says?
No, I don't think so.
It's the other way around.
I don't have it on me though.
It says in the beginning God, right? And then it says, then God created the sun, and
no, I don't think it says that.
Well,
what I'm saying is that
the sun came much later than
the sun was like on day 4. Actually, it says the Earth was created before the sun, which is not backed up by science.
Yeah, that's exactly contrary to what happened.
Well, I don't know whether they're referring to the Son, meaning the Son of God, which would be Jesus.
No, it's
right.
No.
Yeah,
sorry,
they're not homophones in Hebrew. I'm sorry.
Why don't you like that one?
Yeah, no. I mean, that's a cop out. They're talking about the flaming ball of gas in the sky.
Yes, it says S-U-N, and that's translated from Hebrew words, which don't sound the same.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the
Skip down to verse 16, where it says, God made 2 great lights. This is okay, he made the darkness and the night. He made the light day and the darkness night in number 5.
Right.
And then in number 16, he created 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day. That's the sun, right?
Right.
And then he set them in the firmament. So he created night and day first.
Right.
And then he created the earth first, and then night and day, and then the sun.
Right.
That's not what science said.
It could not have possibly happened that way. Planets do not form before the stars that they orbit around. Does not happen.
Well, no, not quite the contrary. It may have, if they were created, they could have been created.
Okay.
Do you have any shred of evidence?
You're free to believe that this is what happened, but I'm telling you that by doing that, you're contradicting science, which means that the Bible does not agree with what science said. I think that should be the end.
Well, my whole point was that the Bible talks about the order of creation, which is also the order of creation that we also agree with.
Nope, it's complete, utter nonsense.
Other than the fact that you guys are talking about light and dark.
Okay, we're going to let you go at this point because this ain't getting us anywhere.
Right, that's true. This point isn't. But all I'm going to say is that about the Bible situation is that, it does fall in line with what we know today. Okay, about how things were created. And my point is that you have to believe either in creation or evolution. Do you agree with that?
No.
Okay, what is the other alternative?
There are infinite alternatives.
Yeah. It was farted out by the cosmic hippopotamus.
So you're telling me that either one can be bogus, that there's not an evolution.
Yes, they could.
It's possible.
All of a sudden we could have just appeared, and things are just the way they are because they're the way they are.
Possible.
Yes.
well, at least you're honest.
It's just about as probable as an intergalactic god who just poofs things into existence.
The cosmic hippopotamus works for me as much as your God does.
Exactly.
Okay, but if you do believe in a creator, okay, let's say you do believe in creation.
Okay, for the sake of argument.
Somebody convinces you that, yes, something created everything and it started from something.
Okay.
Then the next logical process is to evaluate all religious beliefs and pick the one you think makes the most sense. Would that not be correct?
Assuming that you have that first step down, yes, but that first step is way far away from anywhere we're at now.
Right.
Yeah, that first step is a doozy.
Okay, so I'll just leave it at that you guys need to get that first thing confirmed. And then after that, you guys did agree that you will evaluate all religions and not just debunk Christianity or, Judaism or something.
We'll do that.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks.
So other than the sun being created after the earth and after night and day, the Bible completely agrees with science.
Exactly. Assuming you believe and you trust that what the Bible says is accurate, yeah, it's all backed up. It's exactly what we know.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you're actually looking at reality.
Yes. Assuming we know the Bible is true, that proves the Bible is true.
Exactly.
This is what is known as circular reasoning.
Yeah.
FYI.
That was fun.
I think the chances of there being an afterlife are better than 1 in 74 million. As a matter of fact,
based upon what?
It's 50-50. Either you're wrong or I'm wrong. So that's 50-50. I got a much better chance of there being an afterlife